What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another one of our game recaps. Today, we're going to be looking over the game from Thursday Night Football, September 21st. And the 49ers just beat the Giants 30-12. Daniel Jones was 22 of 32 for 137 yards, 0 touchdowns, and a pick. He also rushed for 5 yards on 2 attempts. He's very Blake Bortles-ish. Like, he has the potential to run and build up some fantasy yards potentially. That doesn't mean that he is an exceptional runner or that he's going to be a reliable runner. And when he plays really good defenses like he did today, it's probably best to just steer clear of him, because when he plays a defense like this, he's not going to be able to throw the ball, because you look at the receiving stats, 32 yards, 31 yards, 24 yards. And this was a game where they were playing from behind the entire time. And Daniel Jones still couldn't really put up any yards. 137 yards to the air, only 5 on the ground. So we have to play Daniel Jones super matchup heavy. If he's playing a good defense, steer clear of him. But if he's playing like the Vikings, for example, then we can think about Daniel Jones because of that rushing value, because the defenses are going to be lighter, so he can get the ball to Darren Waller easier. That's the other thing. This is a really good defense against tight ends because they have Fred Warner to cover their tight ends. So Waller couldn't really get going. He's still the clear wide receiver 1 here. He led the team in targets. He had 7. So he's it's like Kansas City. They have their clear tight end who is their wide receiver 1, and then they have a bunch of other receivers who are, just kind of in the same group together. None of them really emerge like that. So, having said that, Darren Waller and Travis Kelce, they are on 2 completely different wavelengths. It's not like Travis Kelce where he's matchup proof. We still got to play the matchups pretty heavily, because it's a big step from having Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback and having Daniel Jones as your quarterback as far as keeping you matchup proof. So, it was just disappointing from a having Darren Waller standpoint, hoping that, more would be on Daniel Jones's plate so he could rack up fantasy points, but he just didn't really do that today. Matt Breida is, him and Gary Brightwell had the same amount of carries. Brightwell was a lot more productive as far as receiving. He was only a yard away from the leading receiver, Darius Slayton. But there isn't really a clear RB1 here. Like, if I had to pick somebody, it would be Matt Breida. But with Saquon out, there's no clear RB1 here, and there's no clear wide receiver 1 here aside from Darren Waller. Just play the matchups as heavily as you can with the Giants. For the Niners, Brock Purdy is good, especially in a weak matchup like this against the Giants. Brock Purdy is easy money, high floor player to have as your QB1. Never going to be the QB1 overall in a week, but it's just going to get you enough yards to keep you relevant, isn't going to make mistakes. Just a really solid high floor player. 25 of 37 today, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no picks. Just really, like I said, super solid stuff. Christian McCaffrey, proven why he's RB1 here. Elijah Mitchell really only got this many carries because they were so far ahead. McCaffrey only had 5 catches for 34 yards, but 18 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown is just, he's great. Elijah Mitchell, like I said, got a bunch of touches because they were so far ahead for most of the game. He had 11 carries for 42 yards. Jordan Mason had 3 carries for 11. Kyle Juszczyk had a carry for 3. Deebo Samuel had a carry for 2. Brock Purdy had -1, and Sam Darnold had -1. So, just, Elijah Mitchell, I think he's a pretty safe drop because he's a pretty clear just understudy to Christian McCaffrey. He's not going to have value on his own, and he's only really going to get yards when they're just beating up on somebody like this. So, McCaffrey, RB1 overall, easily every single week. Deebo Samuel really shined. No Brandon Aiyuk in this one. 6 catches, 129 yards, 12 targets, and a touchdown. Just stellar stuff from him. He was fantastic. George Kittle also feasted with Brandon Aiyuk out. 7 catches, 90 yards, and 9 targets. So many people were complaining about having him on their team. If you bought him low, congratulations. This is kind of what it's like with George Kittle, though. He's going to have super big spike weeks like this where he almost gets 100 yards and 7 catches, and then he's going to get you nothing. And there's just no hope with tight ends this year, so having someone like George Kittle who's super up and down is pretty solid to just leave in your lineup every week and just hope it's going to be a good week. And it's nice like this when it's predictable and one of their star receivers is out too. Christian McCaffrey, like I said earlier, had 5 catches for 34 yards. Jauan Jennings, I thought was a decent DFS play with Aiyuk out, but he just had the 2 catches for 31 yards. Ronnie Bell, the rookie, had 2 catches for 24 yards and a touchdown, and Elijah Mitchell had the 3 catches for 2 yards. So this is what it's going to look like when Aiyuk is out. Deebo Samuel is going to get a lot of passes thrown to him. Look for George Kittle to have spike weeks when that happens, especially against a good offense like this. And you can absolutely do worse as having Brock Purdy as your starter because he has one of the highest floors in fantasy football right now. And that'll do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow @WeAreDrafting on Instagram, and I will see you later.